Hello guys, I'm Unblessed Data, and welcome to another review. This time we got a new episode of Hannibal, the greatest and best show on TV. So far, new show that's on TV, at least it's probably the best. But anyway, last episode was pretty cool. We got the, Freddy, Jason kind of vibe from last week, so how does this week top that? Well, I don't think it really topped it, but it sure did give us an exciting ride. So before I get right into this episode and tell you guys what happened, I'll let you guys know that this review will contain spoilers. If you do not want to know what happened, watch the episode and come back. So, right off the bat, we see Will, and basically we're going to find out how he killed Randall. Because Randall was the guy in the big, bear skeleton suit, and we didn't see how he killed him. He just brought his body to Hannibal at the end of the last episode. So, the scene is set up like last week, where something jumps through Will's window while in the dark while he's sitting there, and it's obviously Randall, but Will sees it as Hannibal. The interesting thing is he sees Hannibal as the Hannibal monster guy, the all black antlered man that looks like Hannibal, which I think is really cool to represent Hannibal. But he sees him fighting the Hannibal monster, not Randall, and he starts punching him out just with his fist, and he kills him. But he sees himself killing Hannibal because that's really what he wants to do. But obviously he kills Randall in reality. So then Will tells Hannibal he's never felt more alive when killing Randall. This is after he brings the body to him. And Hannibal says, okay, but how are you gonna honor him? You can't just let him die and not do anything about it. So now Jack goes back to the Museum of Natural History where they first talked with Randall. And he sees this gruesome display of Randall's body parts, put on a skeleton of this animal. And half his head is cut in half, and it's put on the skull, so you see half of the skeleton of the animal, and then half his head. It looks really freaky. So Jack finds that in the museum, and of course, he brings all the FBI agents to figure out what happened. So Will and Hannibal are helping Jack with the Randall case, and, Will is pointing out things that the killer did, but the killer is himself, so he's kind of doing what Hannibal did before, where he was helping to solve the murders, yet he was the one that actually committed the murders. So it's kind of like a 360 here, and now Will's in Hannibal's place. So Will does the vroom vroom, and he puts himself in the killer's eyes, but it's himself, so, that was kind of cool in itself, because, he's envisioning what he did, but it's himself, which is usually not what happens. But again, Hannibal is slowly turning Will into himself. And I think Will is doing this to the fact that he wants to bring Hannibal down. I think that's the only thing he cares about at this point. He throws away his sanity, throws away his values, because he just wants to take Hannibal down. If that means killing someone for the greater good of killing Hannibal, he'll do it. And, at this point, Hannibal and Will are closer than ever, so it's his perfect time to strike it, you can say. So, Hannibal and Margot talk to each other again. And they're, in their therapy session, and he's still talking about her brother. So now Margot is with her brother, and they're talking about their livestock, their business, their family business, and they breed large stock. They breed livestock, and they breed pigs. Now, Margot's brother is feeding pigs humans, but first he has to condition them to eat humans. So he has this body made of just ground up meat, but he pushed it into a figure of a human, put clothes on it, and then he put screaming just as out of speakers to think that the pigs are they're just conditioning the pigs to eat humans, so that when he throws a body in there and starts screaming, the pigs say, oh yeah, look, food is when we hear screaming, let's eat this. So he's basically just conditioning pigs to eat humans. So Margot meets with Will, and Margot and Will hook up. But when they're hooking up, he pictures Alana, not Margot, and then he pictures just Hannibal. So who's he really in love with here? Is it Hannibal, Alana? Really don't know, and I brought up a really good question in this episode. So after that, Hannibal meets with Margot's brother at the pig farm. I don't know why I'm stumbling on my words today. At the pig farm, and he slaughters a pig for Hannibal as thanks, and even Hannibal's like, maybe you should consider therapy. So is this going to be another team up of killers, Hannibal and Margot's brother? Probably. I'm going to say yes, because why else? I'm not going to say anything from the books, because it would just spoil everything, so I'm not going to say anything. But, Margot's brother gives Hannibal a pig, and he serves it up to Alana and Will. So while at this dinner with Hannibal, Alana, and Will, Alana tells Hannibal and Will that Freddy Lounds is kind of piecing everything together and saying that the Chesapeake Ripper is not Hannibal, it's not Will. It's when both of you work together that you're the Chesapeake Ripper. So at this point, Hannibal's like, okay, Freddy knows too much. It's time for me to put on my clear suit. So Hannibal puts on his clear suit where he does his killing in, and he goes to Freddy's place. And he's just waiting there, but she never shows up. So then Freddy arrives at Will's place because she scheduled a meeting with him to do a questioning, an answering question thing for her, whatever she does. She's a reporter on the internet, so she's getting information from him. So she's going to Will's place, and she goes to the barn because no one's in the house, and she finds Randall's suit, his mechanical killing suit, and so she starts taking pictures. She's like, "What's happening?" And then she finds Randall's suit, Randall's head in the freezer. Also, she opens up a freezer, and Randall's severed head is in the freezer, so she's freaking out at this point. And that brings up the good question: Is Hannibal telling Will to eat the body also, because he said, "Oh, how are you gonna, honor Randall's body?" And basically, the meat's in his freezer. Is he eating it? Probably. So, Freddy runs because she sees Will. She runs to the car, and Will smashes the window, grabs Freddy, and drags her away. And we don't see what happens to Freddy after that. She called Jack while Will was about to hit her, so Jack has Freddy screaming on record, and he's like, okay, now we gotta figure out who did this, and he's talking to Will and Hannibal, and they're the ones that did it. Then Will brings Hannibal he goes to his house, and he brings him some meat, and he's like, oh, can you help me cook this? I bought some meat, and it's assumed that it's Freddy. The meat is actually Freddy, so that's crazy. It's not certain that Freddy's dead because we didn't see a dead body. Same thing that could have happened with Miriam. Miriam, a piece of her was gone, her arm, but she was still alive. Could that be the same with Freddy? We don't really know. Maybe, Hannibal thinks that he's turning Will into a killer, right? But Will really wants to take down Hannibal. So is he playing Hannibal? Is he making Hannibal think that he killed Freddy, but really he's just putting her to the side and making him think that Hannibal has complete control over Will, but he actually doesn't? That's another possibility. Now, Will even says, I've given up good and evil, and then Hannibal says, well, you can't say I'm evil then for doing all these things, which is a good point, but I don't know, I still feel like Will is playing Hannibal at this point. I feel like Will is too smart to fall into this game, and man, but Hannibal's really smart too, so you're thinking, who really is in control at this point? No one really knows. And at the end, I love this scene. They're eating the meat, the human meat, and their faces, it goes to a still of Will, but half of his face turns into Hannibal. I thought that was awesome, and then the episode just ends. So overall, I thought this was a pretty interesting episode. It brought up a lot of weird questions, like what's Hannibal's really true motive? What is Will's true motive? And who has the upper hand in this situation? We don't really know at this point, but I'm sure we'll find out. Personally, I don't think Freddy's dead, but that's just my thoughts. Maybe she actually is dead. I wouldn't be that surprised, but would Will really kill someone for no reason at all? Sure, he killed Randall, but that was out of self-defense. Sure, he killed Hobbs, but again, that was out of self-defense. So, would he kill someone for no reason at all? Would he just kill Freddy just because she knows too much? I don't think so. That would make him a complete murderer, and I don't think he would snoop that low. But hey, Hannibal's molding him into a killer. It's possible. But what did you guys think of this episode? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.